It has been over a month since I've done my last podcast, and it just seems like forever, but I kid you not, I've never gone through a more uninspired time when it comes to my podcast than in the past month. So I'm going to have for you coming up an amazing compilation of world leaders from around the 1967 war and as far back as when Britain turned over Israel to the Jewish people. A compilation of world leaders' quotes concerning the origins of, or non-origins of what is called the Palestinian people. And it's just an amazing time that we live in, but at the same time, it's discouraging, it's very uninspiring, and for many people, it could be a scary time. But as a believer in Jesus Christ, I'm not afraid. And I have to keep on reminding myself as I read and study on all this stuff, just to remember the words of the Lord. Don't be troubled. We have a future, an eternity with the Lord. And all of these things that are going on today is already in the Bible. But I want to cover that. And I've got some new songs from Jim Beeson. You know Jim Beeson. I've featured him several times already. One of my newest features on the Lookout Guy podcast. New videos from him. I've got a new song from Ricky Davis and Jesse McAlister, written by my good friend Jesse McAlister and performed by Ricky Davis. Got some new music from him. A new feature on my show, Brian and Shawn Chrisagis. And for the whole month, I've been wanting to dedicate my next podcast episode to the late Shawn Chrisagis and Brian Chrisagis, the Chrisagis brothers. Oh man, they've got so much good music. They were up there with Wayne Watson, Amy Grant, Scott Wesley Brown, Steve Camp, New Song, all kinds of people in the mid-1980s into the early 1990s. They're still performing, and they have an annual Christmas bash with stars. Lonnie Anderson, Poncherelli from Chips, and a bunch of other people. So I want to be talking about that too, and sharing some music from the Chrisagis brothers and Kimberly Ward music. Yes, all of that is coming up. But first, my official intro to this show. Thank you guys for joining me. God bless you, and stay in prayer and stay informed. And as Jesus said, do not be deceived in these times.
All right, folks, thank you for joining me on the Lookout Guy podcast. I'm Michael Tobin, your Lookout Guy. Well, there is no better way to do this than to just do it. It has been so long. It has been over a month, and we are already in our 5th week of this globally affected war in Israel, the Israeli-Hamas war. I am going to read for you a couple of things about our banks, war, and our economy. That's coming up, as well as aforementioned some music from Jim Beeson. And this coming up is a trailer for his upcoming movie. I'm going to be following this, and if you want to follow this, go ahead and look up Jim Beeson. You can see it here. Jim Beeson with 2 E's and an O, Beson. Jim Beeson. Look him up on Facebook. Contact him and tell him that you would like to see this be produced. But it is a movie, Project Ether, and he hopes to start a Kickstarter campaign soon, as well as a Patreon page. And you've heard Jim Beeson featured on The Lookout Guy on my last at least 3 episodes. So I've got some music from him, A Lion in Winter, brand new song with the video. And I've got Get Loud or Bye Bye from Ricky Davis and Jesse McAlister, written by Jesse McAlister, award-winning songwriter and award-winning singer-songwriter, performed by my good friend Ricky Davis and my good friend Kimberly Ward from Kimberly Ward Music. I Just Want to Be Free. And finally, the Chrisagis brothers. It hasn't even been since this past June that Shawn Chrisagis, twin brother to Brian Chrisagis of the Chrisagis Brothers Ministries. You could look them up online also, and I'll have the links up further on in the show. But this episode is dedicated to my good friend Brian Chrisagis. I finally am able to contact him and get him and his brother's music on the show. But what I'm going to play for you is going to be Brother, Can You Spare a Prayer, a song in a video that Brian and his late brother, Shawn Chrisagis, had produced several years ago, actually, in video form. But it is a classic from the 1990s. So you're going to be hearing from them. And we will be having more of Brian Chrisagis on the Lookout Guy podcast, but more about the Chrisagis brothers, Ricky Davis and Kimberly Ward Music, Jim Beeson, The Lion in Winter, and the Chrisagis brothers. I want to get the news out of the way, and it's not really as a news director or anything. I was a news director in radio for 5 years, and from 89 to 94, and I kind of got news in my blood. But this is, of course, all in a biblical perspective as well. I'm going to go over an article about the Palestinian claim to Israel, and I didn't really want to read that. I wanted to, but then I didn't want to. So here, check out this trailer right here from Jim Beeson, and you can go to YouTube. Just type in Project Ether trailer.
Save a member of their team trapped 2,000 miles beneath the Earth's surface before his signal degrades and he is lost forever.
We have no idea what we'll find down there, so be on your guard. Copy that, Commander. This is Ether 1. We're starting our perimeter sweep. Ether Actual, this is Ether 1. You're not going to believe this, but it looks like an entire civilization lived something.
What do you see, Commander?
We can't be sure, but it looks like huge sealed chambers. Vaults of some sort. They go on for hundreds of miles. We're going to investigate. Over.
Be careful, Craig. We have no idea what could be in there. Over.
The premise of this movie is about teleportation, and they end up really deep in the earth, and they discover something very strange. So go ahead and follow this production. Find it on YouTube, titled Project Ether Trailer by Jim Beeson. All right, let's start off with the economy first. But you know, ever since about July, at least 3 months ago, something that I saw in the news, a warning, an economic warning from former Home Depot CEO Robert Nardelli. My whole life, the economy has been pretty difficult, but Robert Nardelli, you got to look him up. He predicted that there's going to be bankruptcies, business failures in every aspect, and even the banks and the money system. And sure enough, a few months later, we have this headline, which is more than just a headline. WeWork, which so many people that I know, they've heard of them. I haven't heard of them, but evidently they're a huge company. The office sharing company, once valued at $47 billion, files for bankruptcy. They've been having problems for years, and if you read about it, it tells you about the problems that they've been having with the stock market, exchange, the rules that they have to go by and everything, and they're going bankrupt. Basically, they're like it's a dead horse that keeps on twitching, and you wonder if it's still got life in it, like maybe it's going to come back, but it's not. So this is going on all across the board in retail and services, hotels leaving the San Francisco area that owns a whole city block and everything. This is just a few months ago. They only owed less than 1/3 of what their loan was for all the property and everything, but they still sold it and got out of Dodge. And that's going on right now. And I guess I won't read this to you because I just explained it, but I will read to you an article about the banks. Now, bear in mind that this article here is from the 20th of last month, today being the 9th, as I am producing this episode of The Lookout Guy. Three of America's biggest banks just watched $84.5 billion worth of deposits disappear in a single quarter. JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, and Citi are recorded an outflow of deposits in Q3, according to each bank's most recent reports. JP Morgan Chase's new third quarter earnings report details a $31 billion decrease. And if you go down, it gives the amounts in all the other banks mentioned. Very disturbing things going on. And the latest, this is just from a couple of days ago, some bank customers still cannot get their paychecks as direct deposit woes persist. And I believe this one is Bank of America. Customers at major U.S. banks, including Bank of America and Wells Fargo, continued to experience delays with their direct deposits on Tuesday, following a glitch with processing payments that began Friday. And I looked that up today, and I still can't find if they've finally found a remedy or not. But this is just from 2 days ago, this article right here. CBS News. These are mainstream media articles that I'm showing to you also, which is also very surprising. So that's what's going on with our businesses, folks, and our banks, as well as everything else. And as I said earlier, wanted to talk to you about banks, our economy, and war. Coming up before getting into the rest of our show with some killer, awesome indie independent music on the Lookout Guy podcast. Okay, finally, this one is a very easy read, but I didn't want to get into it, but I know I have to, because from here on, I'm really not going to. It's just going to be prayer, watching and seeing, and knowing that Jesus said in the Bible, when you see these things, look up, because your redemption draws nigh. If you do not have redemption, ask Jesus. If you don't believe, just say, okay, Jesus, if you exist, teach me what's going on. Teach me what I need to do. And that's all. It's a simple prayer. But it's amazing. I've waited and we're on the 5th week, and I'm like, okay, is this going to turn out to be a biblical thing, or is this going to be like just another pre-biblical? I do not believe this is biblical, because it's going to get even dumber. But what bugs me about this story is that because of what was decided when Israel became a nation again for the first time in thousands of years, back in 1946, they became a nation of Israel again. What they accepted was just beyond comprehension on why. Why did they? So being that the world and them accepted the two-state solution type of a thing, which is going on right now, and everything that was predictable happened on October 7th this month. It was predicted, and it happened. Over 1,400 citizens in the Jewish territory above Gaza, which is a so-called Palestinian territory, were murdered very viciously and barbarically. So it's just amazing to think that this barbarism, which we've seen a lot of it during Obama's years, still exists. It's crazy. It was fueled and created on a much more horrible basis than anybody alive has really seen when it comes to terrorism. And it's just amazing. But because of all this, it's beyond all of our purviews. And instead of being disturbed and upset about it all the time and trying to find solutions, there really is no more solution except for Jesus. Jesus and God are the only solution, because look what we created. So this article right here tells what has been common knowledge for decades and at least a whole generation, a generation being at least 70 years, because there are several different amounts of years to a generation, depending on what aspects of a generation you are including. Some say 30, some say about 45, some say up to 70. But another thing in the Bible, this is going to be the last generation when you see Israel become a nation again. It's in there. Jesus said it. It's been a good 70 plus years, and we're just waiting. The clock is ticking. But this is all common knowledge, and because of this historical, factual knowledge, it makes it beyond any of our control, other than through the Lord and prayer. Both the Jews and the Palestinians claim ownership of the biblical land of Israel. This is from a CBN article from October 27, 13 days ago. Both the Jews and the Palestinians claim ownership of the biblical land of Israel. The Palestinians say their ancestors have lived here for thousands of years, but is that claim supported by history? Many Palestinian Arabs, including Yasser Arafat, have claimed to be descendants of the ancient Canaanites. This is a convenient argument, since the Canaanites were the first known inhabitants of the land known as Israel. As recently as May 2014, a spokesman for the Palestinian Authority stated, "The Palestinians have been in the land for 5,000 years. But history shows that there is no way the Palestinians could be related to the Canaanites, because the Canaanites were almost completely obliterated by the Israelites in the 13th century BC. The few Canaanites that remained were assimilated into Israelite culture. The Palestinians also claim that the ancient Philistines are their ancestors, and it's true that they take their name from the tribe of Goliath, but do they actually share the DNA? The Philistines were a seafaring people who came from Crete, the largest of the Greek islands. The Philistines got their name from the Hebrew word plishtim, which actually means invaders. Palestine means invaded land. Why should we call it that? Asked Eliezer ben Yehuda, a prominent Jewish historian. When the Philistines invaded Israel in the 12th century BC, they stayed close to the Mediterranean coast. They never settled in Jerusalem, Hebron, or Jericho, all cities claimed by the Palestinians. By the 7th century BC, the Philistines had been assimilated by the Assyrians, then conquered by the Babylonians. From there, they disappeared from the pages of history, and experts say no one alive today could prove Philistine lineage. But if the Palestinians want to claim them, they would have to acknowledge that their real ancestral homeland is not Israel, but the Greek island of Crete. The Palestinians may not have received their DNA from the Philistines, but they did get their name. And this is where it kicks into nowadays, folks. Continuing in this article, when the Roman Emperor, or Hadrian, conquered Jerusalem in AD 135, he was determined to eradicate even the memory of the Jews and erase their connection to the land of Israel. So Hadrian renamed the region after their historical enemies, calling it Syria Palestina, the Latin translation for Philistine. So if they're not Canaanites and they're not Philistines, who are the Palestinians? Biologically, they share DNA with Saudis, Iraqis, Syrians, and Jordanians. Simply put, they are Arabs. Never in history was there a Palestinian nation or a Palestinian state. At that time, nobody was thinking in lines of a Palestinian people. They were all Arab states. Ambassador Ayalon. So that's the short of it. There's another article that I saw on CBN. It goes deeper, and it actually quotes Arab leaders in the 1960s and the late 1940s, even up into the 20th century. Arabs from surrounding nations saying that there is no such thing as a Palestinian people. So why would Israel and the world accept a claim from a nationality that does not even exist? It is because if Israel is going to be another nation, they have to have some sort of a problem or a thorn in the flesh, if you will, and it has led to what happened on October 7th of last month. It's just crazy. So ordinarily, I would be like super concerned or troubled or worried and thinking that there's got to be some kind of solution, but the worst solution ever has already been in place. It was done purposefully for some reason that we can only surmise, but it is treacherous. It is scandalous, and it is conspiratorial against the Jewish people. It just boggles the mind. How could something like that happen? So that's my thing on, partially on war, vaguely speaking, but specifically on the current Israeli Gaza, what is being called war. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem, pray for Israel, pray for the United States, pray for the world. Keep on praying, don't be troubled. So that's it. Thank you guys for joining me. That's my little news update, my rare news update. Glad I got through it. Now, let's get into some music from Jim Beeson, Ricky Davis, Kimberly Ward music, and When I mention Ricky Davis, I also want to mention my good friend Jesse McAlister. Both of them are award-winning songwriters, and this song, Get Loud or Bye Bye, it's a sports song. But you could think of, when I first heard it, I was like, wow, I got to get serious. Put up or shut up. That's what I think it is. But it's a sports song, but you could also look at it in many other ways. Love this song. Written by Jesse McAlister, performed by Ricky Davis. And of course, I'm going to conclude this episode with my good friends, Brian and Shawn Chrisagis, on the Lookout Guy podcast. So here's Jimmy Beeson's A Lion in Winter.
Changing light, faithful is he who makes your way at night. The perfect man who loves you so, the sacrifice I came to know, the penalty with stripes he paid. And in his hands were the wounds we made. A man of sorrow, a man of suffering, who holds you tomorrow. A lion in winter. Done tonight. Mark the man who's made his pathways right. Word causes the storms to still, the mighty one that they cannot kill. 30 pieces of silver paid. And on the altar, the sun was laid. A man of sorrow, a man of suffering, who holds you tomorrow. A lion
another magnificent piece by the great Jimmy Beeson on the Lookout Guy podcast. And now, as promised, Ricky Davis, brand new song, Get Loud or Bye Bye. That will be followed by Kimberly Ward Music with I Just Want to Be Free. And finally, the Chrisagis brothers, Brian and Shawn Chrisagis, on the Lookout Guy podcast.
Don't try to stop us. Get out of our way. This is our game. We came to play. Lock her up and close your eyes.
that was my good friend Kimberly Ward of Kimberly Ward Music. You can go to YouTube and just type in Kimberly Ward Music and you will find the first part of your venture on her music. It's awesome. You know, it's so classic, just a really cool genre of music. I love it. That's my favorite song by Kimberly Ward Music. And it was a real honor and a pleasure to meet her last year in Atlanta at the International Singer-Songwriter Association Awards. I went there for the second time, and I was actually a runner-up for radio and promotion. I didn't get the gold, bronze, or silver or anything, but it was fun. I met so many good people. And anyways, you'll be hearing more from Ricky Davis, Kimberly Ward Music, Jim Beeson, and now the Chrisagis brothers. I've been following them since I was a radio DJ between 89 and 94. I played so much of their music, and I'm finally able to catch up with Brian now. But you know, say a good prayer for Brian Chrisagis, because him and his brother have been in music all their lives, Christian music. They've been born again since they were little ones. They're only 55 years old, and it's only been since June since Shawn Chrisagis, twin to Brian Chrisagis, passed away from a heart attack. They have done several annual Christmas with the Stars in West Virginia, and they're going to be showing up in just a couple of days on the 11th. So I will get more into that after this. My favorite song, it's one of their older ones and made into a video not too long ago. And say another prayer for Brian also, because I don't know how you could ever get over with losing all of your discography that was on YouTube. They lost their channel because they had some problems with YouTube, and you all know how YouTube is vindictive. Their whole channel was deleted, and it's taken them some time to get their channel started again. But look up Chrisagis Brothers, CHRISAGIS Brothers on YouTube, and you'll find their new YouTube channel. But this is my favorite song from them. It has Shawn Chrisagis harmonizing with Brian doing lead for this song, and they switched leads in all of their songs, but it's just awesome. But in this one, they look so much alike because their hair is the same that it's difficult to tell which one. But the one with the sunglasses, that's Shawn, and the one with the jeans button-up coat is Brian. But let's get into this song, and then concluding with on a light note from Brian, one of his most recent writings that really touched my heart, on the Lookout Guy podcast.
Must have been 17 of us standing waiting on the bus when a homeless man aroused my prejudice. He said, I'm a man who's just like you. I'm a success at all I do at the boat docks. I'm the CEO of my cardboard box. But I discovered recently I am a little bit needy. So please, kind sir, don't think I'm strange. Can you help me with a little change? Brother, can you spare a prayer? I'm a few steps short of heaven. I need to find my way back there. Brother, can you spare a prayer? I'm a sheep who's gone astray. Can you help me find my way down deep? Brother, can you spare a prayer? He said it was 1992. A cruel explore the land. Don Quixote in a minivan, fighting windmills, eating supper from a garbage can. Looking for absolution, a freedom from his confusion, in the faces of a world gone mad, trying to get back to the life he had. What again is there? A prayer. I'm a few cents short of heaven. I need to find my way back there. Brother, can you spare a prayer? I'm a sheep who's gone astray. Can you help me find my way? Tell me, brother, can you spare a prayer? His hands and we bowed and prayed. He met the lover of his soul that day. All his sins were gone and his future was rearranged. Oh, I thank Jesus that he still talks, calling broken hearts from the city sidewalk in a day and age where being Christ-like ain't the rage. Don't you think it's strange? You might be an angel that you entertain when a homeless man approaches you. Just ask yourself, what will you do? Brother, can you spare a prayer? I'm a few cents short of heaven. I need to find my way back there. Brother, can you spare a prayer? I'm a sheep who's gone astray. Can you help me find my way? Tell me, brother, can you spare a prayer? Brother, can you spare a prayer? I'm a few cents short of heaven. I need to find my way back there. Brother, can you spare a prayer? I'm a sheep who's gone astray. Can you help me find my way? Tell me, brother, can you spare a prayer? Can you spare a prayer?
Awesome. All right, folks, that was Can You Spare a Prayer from the Chrisagis brothers, Brian and Shawn Chrisagis. And now, on a light note, this is something that my good friend Brian posted. I have here a photo, 3 photos actually, and as I read this, awesome. Brian is an awesome writer, and I really can't say enough. Many of you love the funny stories I've shared about my relationship with my beloved twin brother, Shawn Chrisagis. We have been dear friends of actor Jack Scalia since 2000. We worked as his PR team, fan club presidents, even planners, and served as his adopted brothers with such joy. We were his ministers who brought him to a deep relationship with Jesus. It was a thrill to serve in so many areas of Jack's life. We became his family, and he lived with us, and we lived with him, and we traveled around together from New York to California to Ohio and Florida to the Caribbean and Atlanta, Georgia to the Carolinas. We were bonded. We planned an event called the Winning Spirit Weekend. One of his fans flew in from France. Wait for it, folks. She had broken her leg while here, so I volunteered to take her in her wheelchair to the plane. Shawn M. Chrisagis begged me to let him do it because he didn't want any mishaps to take place. I said, Shawn, I am well aware that I have done a few things over the years, but I got this one. What could possibly go wrong? So, Brian proceeds. So I proceeded to take Frenchie to her plane. No one ever told me people movers can't have wheelchairs on them, so I put her with her leg up in a cast in her wheelchair and her crutches in her arms, so there would be no issue like the third picture. When you see her third picture, in a wheelchair with her cast. I put her suitcases behind me, and off the people mover went, with others behind me as well. When I got to the end of the people mover, I tried to lift the wheelchair over the bump. It didn't work, so I pushed and pushed and pushed. All of a sudden, the suitcases made me fall backwards, and Frenchie fell out of the wheelchair. The crutches went across the wheelchair, caught on the motorized arm rails of the people mover. And as I found myself under the wheelchair trying to get it off me, the crutches kept getting caught, pushing the wheelchair back on top of me. I was screaming for help as I felt molested by the wheelchair, and all the people on this mover kept hitting into me and the lodge that was under me. Frenchie was not happy laying on the floor, and here comes Shawn running to save the day. Needless to say, I had whiplash. Frenchie had injuries, and Shawn had this in shock look on his face, like, how? I still remember Shawn trying to make up to Frenchie and trying to help me to the car in pain. Lesson learned, don't put a wheelchair on a people mover. Life's lessons from one of the great Chrisagis brothers, Brian Chrisagis. So now, you see what he looks like now. He's got longer hair. And he just wrote about, here it is. He's talking about his annual Christmas with the Stars. Time is running out. Get your tickets and this is very difficult for him, folks. So that's why I want to stress praying for him, because only a twin brother knows. You know, I have a brother that passed away a couple of years ago, blood brother, and it really wasn't, it's still difficult thinking about it, but just pray for Brian. This is going to be the first Christmas on his own in ministry. So time is running out. Get your tickets and make plans for the final Christmas with the Stars. Faith-based Christmas celebration of hope and new beginnings with an all-star lineup. Salute our veterans, honoring Shawn Chrisagis and glorifying Christ in Christmas. So close to Veterans Day, too. Eric Estrada, Stephanie Powers, Jack Scalia, Catherine Hicklin, John Barry, Lorenzo Lamas, Rob Mays, Max Winfrey. Comedic music, memories, testimonies, and lots of surprises. I wish I could be there. November 11th, it's 2 days from now, Veterans Day at Capitol Theater in Wheeling, West Virginia. Christmas with the Stars, a schedule, Catherine Bach video welcoming folks, and a Shawn Chrisagis tribute. I really believe he's going to be blessed on this. I wish I could see it. And then Brian concludes, most wonderful time of year with Brian Chrisagis and Mark Stoller. Jack Scalia and Brian Chrisagis chat. Jack reads Red Skeleton Pledge, brings up veterans, pledge to the flag, Raggedy Old Flag by Mark Stoller. That's Statler. Have veterans go back to the seats. And so there would be quite a few veterans there also. A Great Land medley by Rob Mays, Brian, Mark Statler, and Nikki Fleming. Brian introduces Lorenzo, and Brian intros Military Man with Dolly Parton impersonator. I Will Always Love You with help from Eric Estrada. What kind of role is Eric going to have? Well, this is going to be a really busy time. Jack introduces John Barry. He sings Your Love Amazes Me. Max Winfrey with Catherine Hicklin's stunt comedy routine. Catherine sings I Dreamed a Dream in honor of Shawn Chrisagis. Brian brings out Eric Estrada, 12 Days of Christmas. My Chip Star Gave to Me with Roger Horde. it goes on and on. Brian calls out Jack Scalia, reads Christmas scriptures from Isaiah chapter 7, verse 14, 1 Timothy chapter 1, 15 through 17. That will be the scriptures for the night. So if you're able to be and willing, look this up. Just look up, do the Google thing. Brian Chrisagis and Christmas with the Stars, and you'll find the ad for it. But what an awesome time that's going to be! All right, folks, this has been a difficult one, but I finally got through it. This is take 3. I did take 1; it was totally ruined. I did take 2; it was totally ruined, and it was all because of my previous microphone. And I now have a new microphone, which is amazing because I have my headphones on now, but I don't have to have my headphones on, and it doesn't cause an echo when the speakers are on and anything is playing. It's really, really cool. And there's some other good things about my softwares that I've got also. But that I wasn't expecting, to be able to have the speakers going and me being able to speak into the microphone at the same time. So that's awesome. Thank you guys for joining me on the Lookout Guy podcast. It's now available on video as well as audio form wherever streaming is.